Hello, everybody. What a beautiful night. I'm very happy to be here with you again tonight, and I'm gonna sing a couple of songs, preparing our place, our environment for our meeting tonight. Good old man. Blue crystal eyes, colors of the sky. Gray bushy beard, Santa look-alike. Shine on your brothers on earth, suffering, living joy, or in pain. Blue crystal eyes, colors of the sky. Gray bushy beard, Santa look-alike. Shine on your brothers on earth, suffering, living joy, or in pain. Deseja de menezes, apostle of the good, receive our prayers and also our heart. Deseja de menezes, apostle of the light, place our pains at the feet of Jesus Christ. Song to Mother Zephyrina. Source of love that radiates, warming up our cold nights, support and comfort, support and comfort. Cascades flow down the mountain, calling the children of earth with love in their hearts, with love in their hearts. My soul never loses hope, because your love always teaches me the solution lies in our door. The solution lies in our door. Oh, my mother Zephyrina, harvest of wonderful blessings. Make yours, no son, a good Christian. Make yours, no son, a good Christian.
You will see the scars of my destiny will be healed by your love. Disseminate wherever you are, glowing seeds of love, as our Master Jesus taught. As our Master Jesus taught.
Another day, another flower, another minute past the hour. Someday the sky is blue, and suddenly we can't see through. And every day is a fresh new start, when the sun turns off the moonlight. We get another chance to choose the road we want to cruise. And on the other side of the mountain, there's always a whole new road, the new beginning calling after every end. There are a million reasons to pick you up after every fall. It's always a win in the new round. On the other side of the mountain, there's always a whole new road, and the new beginning calling after every end. And there are a million reasons to pick you up after every fall. It's always a win. It's always a win in the new round. It's always a win in the new round. It's always a win in the new round.
When I go in to pray, I look for my good Jesus. And when I close my eyes, I can feel all His light. I open my heart for all He has to say. He shows me the best way I can enjoy my life. Jesus, Jesus, they never we apart. Please bring all your light to shine inside my heart. Jesus, Jesus, I can be content. I have your endless love and your protecting hand.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our public meeting. We thank everyone for joining us tonight. And before we start, we would like to share a couple of announcements. We ask that you turn your phone notifications off and find a quiet place during this time if possible. Our meeting will have a 30-minute presentation followed by a Q&A. After the presentation, we will also have a spiritual treatment with passes and magnetized water. So we invite you to set aside a container with water to be magnetized. We also would like to announce that our public meeting is being retransmitted today by Continental Concafras Americas through their Facebook and will also be retransmitted every Wednesday at 8 p.m. East by Kardec Radio through their Facebook and YouTube. And now we have a special invitation for those who want to learn more about Spiritism. Get to Know Spiritism is a free and online course that happens every Saturday at 5:15 p.m. East. A new class will be starting on fall 2023, and more information will be given soon, so stay tuned. And now we would like to invite our brother Publio to join us for the opening prayer.
Hello, everybody. So we're gonna do the initial prayer. So if you feel comfortable, let's close our eyes, thinking about the Jesus Christ, our Master, our brother, and this moment, in name of Him, ask His intercession together with our Father God, asking for a permission to start our meeting tonight. Then also allow the good spirits to be here with us, inspiring us in this process to be every single day better and better. Dear Jesus Christ, we also ask you to bless all the people who are here, incarnated or disincarnated. Your peace, your love be with us tonight and forever. So be it.
Thank you, Publio.
Thank you.
So today's meeting, the topic will be compassion, and it's under chapter 13. Do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. Items 15 to 18. And it will be facilitated by our sister Veronica from Winnipeg. Everyone is welcome to write comments and questions in the chat, and we will be addressing those questions at the end of the talk. And now we would like to invite our tonight's speaker. Welcome, Veronica.
Hello, Larissa. Hello,
Hello.
everyone. You can hear that my voice is almost disappearing, but hopefully the good spirits are gonna guide me through this.
Oh, I'm sure they will.
Yeah. So
See
thank you.
you in the end.
Yeah, see ya. So thank you very much for joining me tonight. So as Larissa said, we are going to study today the final items from this chapter that talks about charity and about what is the right way that we can be charitable. And the items we are going to study today, they are messages from the spirits. So we have 4 messages at the end of this chapter where the good spirits through in the gospel explain how we should be, what's the right way to be charitable, so that we can give the best of ourselves, and also those who receive our help can also feel loved, and feel comforted. So, one part of this chapter talks about material charity, and the Spirit John says that many people, anyone, has a condition to provide something, but sometimes we have excuse to say that we are poor, we don't have many resources, and then we try to um, avoid and escape from our obligation to perhaps assist others. So he gives some examples here. He gives an example of a rich, fortunate wife that has the privilege of not need to care for their house because she might have servants. But he gives an example that because of her resources, she could use some of the funds she has to purchase clothes and food to unfortunates. Another example would be a poor laborer who has almost nothing extra, and in many cases, they will be by giving they will be uh, putting themselves in a very uh, difficult financial condition. But the Spirit gives an example that perhaps this poor worker with very low resources could spend some hours in the evening, perhaps producing something handmade and sell to have some extra resources that then could be shared to those that are in even worse condition than himself. Another example would be a woman devoted to God, very faithful, righteous person, but more than being devoted to God, the best way to be devoted would be to transform the gifts she received from God in order to be able to transform that into clothing and food for those in need. And he even further say that that's the best way to devote ourselves to God. So in any example, in any condition, we can always we always have something that we can give to others, and we always have some surplus of a resource that we can use in favor to our brothers and sisters. Well, and so all of you who can produce something, give. Give of your talents, give of your inspirations, give of your hearts, which God will bless. So the Spirit is giving here many hints of how we can be charitable in this world. So, and further, by giving what we have of surplus, what we can share, we will have no less glory by retaining surplus of resources or keeping things to ourselves. We are going to be reach higher levels or become more popular. On the contrary, we'll be noted and will be example to others because we are helping others that are suffering. So there is no contraindication, right, about being charitable. And uh, a protector spirit, another spirit in these items in the gospel, he tells a story, a tale about two men, and I think that is we'll at the end we'll understand why we should do the best of our resources to help others around us. So there are two men with two bags, one bag each, and all their good deeds will go inside this bag throughout their lives. So one day they die, and at death, God says He's going to collect these bags to wait how many good deeds each one has. So he bring the two men, he bring the two bags and show them the two bags. So there is one bag and there is another bag. And the two men, and he asks who these bags belong to. So the rich man says, I was rich and gave a lot, so I know this big bag is mine. And there was another smaller bag and so empty that we could see how many coins were in there. Not many. The other man says, this is my bag. I was poor in this life. I had almost nothing to share. So they both recognize their deeds in their bags. So then God goes and weighs the bags. He put on a scale, and surprisingly, the bag, the little tiny bag, weighs heavier, and the big bag full of coins just became lighter than the smaller bag. And then that's what divine justice is. It's not about how many coins we hold in our pockets. And then God comes to explain to the two men how this scale works, the divine scale works. So to the rich man, God says, yes, you have been giving um, much, a lot of your fortune, but you gave to show how powerful and to ostentate how much you had, and to see your name on displays in gratitude for all your generosity. So he was doing that because he likes to be on the spot, right, on the spotlight. So, and because of his pride, and even he was giving a lot, he was not deprived from his pleasures or his comfort because he was still giving much less than what he had. He had much more that he had to leave. So he didn't miss anything that he gave. To the other man, he said, God says, you have given very little, but each one of those coins that you gave away on the scale represents a privation for you. So he really struggled when he shared the, the little that he had. So you practiced charity without thinking you would be taken into account. So he wasn't expecting being recognized or being cheered by the little he was giving. And then God uh, continues to the poor man on earth, saying, you were indulgent and did not judge your fellow beings. On the contrary, you offered excuses for all their actions. Go to the right and receive your recompense. So this in here, God tells us many things that are important in our action of charity toward others. He talks about indulgence, about not being judging those who are in need, and even trying to hide the weaknesses or the wrongdoings of those that are in need, because they are sometimes in a very humiliating position already, and pointing fingers towards them is not going to help them to overcome and will cover the good we can do. And there is a recompense. So the question is, how full is our bag? Is that a little bag full of good deeds, or we can maybe stuff more good deeds in there? So that's a reflection, because when we cross to the other side, we will be asked, what was the good we have done on this earth? So this is a lesson for us to think about and reflect, and how much good we can still feel in this bag. So the message also talks about indulgence. And the key message about indulgence is that indulgence is charity. So the spirit, the protector spirit, he tells, my dear friends, every day I hear you say to one another, I am poor. I can't practice charity. I have nothing to give. And every day I see you lacking indulgence toward your fellow beings. So, is not indulgence also charity? So, the protector spirit is kind of pulling our ears a little bit, because even though we are materially poor, we don't have material resources, we can always be indulgent. We can always be try to be more understanding of others, and be compelled to offer maybe a charity that is not material. So he says then, if you have nothing to give, you if you who can only practice charity by being indulgent. So if you cannot be practice charity with material things financially, be practice charity being indulgent. Do that at least, but do it extensively. Extensively means do that all the time, in every single opportunity. And we cannot say that we are poor in that sense, right? We can all practice, and it's an exercise that we have to cultivate. So we could try to find opportunities to develop indulgence. Even though our eyes are still judgmental, we tend to judge others automatically. We have to stop this automatic thought that we have uh, by um, by judging, for judging, and try to practice indulgence. So um, so then that goes towards another topic from these items, which is compassion. And compassion is a sentiment, is a feeling, right? Compassion, the spirit Michelle explained that is the virtue that brings you closer to the angels. What a beautiful description. And it is the sister of charity which leads you to God. So it is a celestial precursor of charity, the first of all virtues. So cultivating and developing compassion is a requirement for us to achieve full action in terms of charity and guide us towards our progress as immortal spirits. So let's see what he tells us about compassion. He says that many times selfish people might avoid feeling compassion of all of all sorts because they think they feel annoyed or they feel troubled by seeing people suffering. And for the selfish person, they feel this contact to another person that's in a misfortune situation, is in suffering, that suffer pain, he feels pain when in contact, because the soul of the selfish person vibrates. It feels even though they don't want to, and experience this pain. And that shows that compassion is something that's inside, is within our nature, within our spirit, even for those who are so-called selfish or people who do not seem to be very charitable. They have discomfort. And for us as human beings who have this commonality to feel this pain when we see others in pain, this has important meaning, because this means that for us, this is an important feature that all of us possess. And why do we have then this discomfort? So discomfort is something that if not present, we would not move. So think about stepping on a nail, right, on the ground with your bare foot. If it was not discomfort, we would keep our feet on that. But discomfort makes us move. That's why the spirits are saying here that compassion is the first step in order for us to achieve light. So the most appropriate sentiment to enable us to progress and overcome selfishness and pride. And as you can remember, selfishness and pride are the biggest illnesses in our humanity, is what is preventing us from evolving. So compassion will go right in opposition to that. The one, compassion is the sentiment that predisposes our soul to humility, beneficence, and this love that makes us want to help others. And this desire to help others and try to, even though we suffer, we feel this pain and discomfort, even though we cry, that's what links us as human beings. So when when out of kind sympathy we manage to restore the hope and resignation of somebody in pain, we feel this delight in our hearts. So even though suffering causes pain, we feel the energy, right? We feel, that's why it vibrates in our soul, but the good also vibrates in our soul. So when we act in opposition to that pain by helping and supporting somebody in pain, we have the vibration of this good feeling that we're giving in return, so that the pain does not resonate inside of us anymore, but now is love, now is compassion, now is indulgence that resignates on us as well. So what we give, we receive. And that's why we have this feeling. So for the selfish person who would decide at the first moment that they feel somebody suffering, they try to avoid, they think they are not seeing. And that's many times what we do when we walk on the streets and we have people begging for a change. Sometimes we don't even look at their eyes, right? We don't even look at them. We pretend that they are not there, they're invisible. Or we try to pretend we are invisible because that pain vibrates on us. So if we stop there, we just take that with us. And we might forget, but the next time and next time that will continue on us. While if we could return with something good, then we would take with us this delight, this feeling of lightness, right? So next time we feel uncomfortable, maybe we should try to do one step, one small step to change and see if that's going to be different. So compassion also, so then this feeling allow our hearts to move, uh, and in face of these miseries, we see other people suffering. And every tear we give, when we have this feel, we share the this emotion of pain, this feeling of pain. It acts as a balm to the wounds of those who suffer. So why the spirit is telling that, right? Because many times when somebody is in a really difficult situation that they cannot even focus to make a prayer, for example, they are suffering so hard, deep in their problems, they don't see a solution. They are very hard to reach by the good spirits. And the good spirits are always around us, asking to asking and waiting for the opportunity to help us. And sometimes when we connect with those who are suffering, sometimes we can be the instruments we can be the link to provide hope, to provide resignation. And it's not about money, financial support here. The spirits are very clear. It's about providing a helping hand, providing hope, providing support, consolation, because that will inspire our neighbor who is in difficulty to have this feeling of hope, and that will be the tiny space that the good spirits are waiting for them to assist that our brother or sister. So we can be instruments in this process. Okay, so this chapter also talks about orphans, and perhaps the spirits are touching specifically to orphans, to kids, to children, to infants, because they do inspire us the sentiment to protect them. So for most of us, children might inspire us this desire for us to care for others. And the Spirit is saying, my brothers and sisters, love all orphans. And he even goes further saying, it's so sad to be alone. It cannot, there's no thing that could be more sad than a child being alone. And he says that God allows, why God would allow that, right? A child to not have somebody to care for them. But that's an opportunity for us that God allows for us to be parents of somebody that we don't have blood ties, and practice the law. Which law? The law of love. the law of God. So he goes further saying, well, and even though we might think that orphan has no connection to us, we might feel compassionate about it, but it's not our fault. He alerts us that we should consider that many times that child that we agree to provide assistance or we feel compelled to assist maybe was a dear of us in another reincarnation, in a previous reincarnation where maybe we were having a different role, and it is a way where we can return. So it would be very frustrating for us once we discarnate and always revealed that we had this opportunity to love and to give a hand to somebody that's dear to us, and we missed the chance because we were too busy or because we were so selfish that we didn't want to feel the pain, so we want to avoid. So it reminds us that if we feel in our hearts that we can help, and we should, so that we don't regret later. So near the end here, um, the familiar spirit tells my friends, every sufferer is our brother and sister and has a right to your charity. So it's a right to them. Usually we are worried about our own rights, but it's a right to anyone to receive charity. But not the charity that wounds the heart or the alms that burn the hand, for your alms are frequently quite bitter. So what he's saying here, that when we are going to act in a charitable way, we should not offend others or humiliate others. We should give delicately, gently, add to our action a smile, a good word, a pat on the back, because that's energy that we are giving. And that's, again, the window of hope that we can open for that person. So remember that in doing good, you are working for yourself and your loved ones, because the gratitude the person, the receiver has, will turn toward us into healing energy as well. And um, this is the last slide, I believe. If we can move here. So, compassion, deeply felt, is love. Love is devotion. Devotion is forgetting ourselves. So, why forgetting ourselves is so important? Because it is a way that we can combat that pride and selfishness that get in the way in many times when we have opportunity to do good things. And this forgetfulness, this self-denial on behalf of others that are sometimes in a more unfortunate position than us, is the kind of virtue that the divine Messiah, Jesus, practiced throughout his life and taught in his holy and sublime doctrine, right? The doctrine of love. So, by cultivating, trying to develop compassion, we can reach this. We can certainly reach this place where charity becomes an automatic act for us. Sometimes we have to force ourselves to a discomfort zone in order to create the habit. But don't feel, if you feel like that discomfort, you feel sometimes forced towards because it's awkward, keep doing, right? And you feel at the end that, oh, it was not that bad. Sometimes it's a commitment of time. Sometimes we need to sacrifice maybe some things we have pleasure, right? So sometimes it's time we could spend for ourselves or with our family, but perhaps we can spend some time helping others, providing a smile, giving a smile to somebody on the street, not to ignoring them. And even though we feel pain, we should return with a word of comfort. If we have some financially, we can assist with handing in something, that's good as well. But try not to prevent ourselves from these opportunities, because God give us opportunities every day. And when we lie on the bed at night, we could think about all the opportunities we had and maybe we missed, but we have a new day. Then when we can do better. So that's what I had for the study today to share. And I hope you enjoy, and I hope we can exercise compassion, indulgence, and charity more often. So thank you. And
Thank you, Veronica, for this amazing talk and for your reflections. I loved a lot of the stories and some like the view that you presented to us was really well done. Um, and yeah, I was thinking about compassion, right? And that, like, in the end, the way that you said that sometimes we need to just exercise it, because if you are not doing it, it's like a habit, right? Like, if you want to wake up like 5 a.m. in the morning, at first it will be hard, right? And it's the same as the habit of, the charity or exercise compassion. And you need to start, and then once you start, you would see, okay, that's not that bad, and you will actually feel good about it, right?
mhm,
So that's a good way. The other thing that I was thinking is that compassion would be that feeling of seeing someone and seeing yourself in that situation as well, right?
yeah, it's a mixture between compassion and empathy, right?
Mhm,
Where you feel on the person's shoes, right? And I think the spirits even advise us to think like that
mhm,
when sometimes we are not being very indulgent,
mhm,
sometimes we are bitter, or sometimes we try to repel
mhm,
people we need, and they ask us to put ourselves in their shoes, right?
mhm.
If we would like to do that,
To
right?
be
So
treated that way, right?
yeah, and we hear, for example, from many people who live on the streets that sometimes they are so grateful just because we spend some time exchanging some words,
Mhm,
because sometimes they feel invisible,
yeah.
because people really try to ignore them, because we have this difficulty in dealing with this discomfort
Mhm,
feeling
yeah.
of seeing somebody in pain.
Mhm,
And it is, this should not prevent us to try to do something good,
mhm,
right? And the spirits are not asking us to give away all of our belongs and everything we have. They are asking us to be indulgent, to
mhm.
exchange a smile, right? That is still free, right? It's no,
Do
we
the
don't.
best that you can with what you have, right?
Yes, exactly. So just give what we have.
Mhm,
And and you're saying about giving, right? And I think I don't know anybody who was ever exercised charity or compassion and regret it.
Right? Yeah, that's a good point, right?
I don't think there is anybody who regretted ever, right? It's although if we are rough, if you are restrict, like punishing, or we'll be we'll be all we can be blamed, right, by being too hard, too harsh.
Mhm.
But nobody ever said, "Oh, you are too good," or
We're
"You
doing
did it
too
too
good.
much."
Let's
Yeah, you
stop
did too
it,
much.
right?
Just take that back. That doesn't exist, right? Yeah.
So we have some questions.
Hmm.
Just a moment. So this one is from our friend Publio. And he's saying nowadays with social media, it's very common to see people giving something to show the world how good they are, but how good they are, but this always happen. Is there a right way to help those in need?
Um, I think. Well, I think here is a good example for us to practice indulgence, right? Let's say, even though some people is do that to show, can, so let's do an exercise like this. Yeah, some people really just show off, right? In the social media, something good they do, but it could be that that person really meant they were just filled with that energy, that delight, so happy that they did something good that they want to share,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
maybe that can inspire others to do the same.
Mm-hmm.
It could be a competition. We are so competitive in this world. Perhaps we should compete, right? So, oh, I see my friend doing something good, I'll do something better. And we all do and try to beat each other doing good things. So that might not be too bad. And it could be that really some people might just want to get the glories from
The
the human
attention.
beings,
Yeah.
the attention, right? The spotlight, or get so many tweets, right? And then it becomes viral, right? We use those words all the time. But I think then we can practice our indulgence because we don't know the person's reason. And if that's the reason, it's between them and God at the end, because God knows how to operate that scale with the
Mm-hmm.
bag, right? With the
Mm-hmm.
bags, not us.
Mm-hmm.
And we should care for our bags, right? And whether we sometimes fall in that point too, right? That we want the glories of earth, while we should be seeking the glories of heaven.
And I think that's the good part, right? Is that we only are responsible for our actions and what we
Yes.
are doing, right? So there we have another one from our friend Rod, and he says, "Is charity all about giving material things and money, or are there other ways of practicing charity? For example, in our family." I think you said about indulgence, right? But
Yes.
can you just elaborate a little more?
Yes, sure. Well, right in the first few slides, so the spirit, I think, is a familiar, the protector spirit. He said, "Give if you have, give." Right, give all you have, give anything you have that you can give. So it could be money if you have. It could be your talent. It could be an inspiration. It could be an idea. It could be a smile, right? It could be a pat on the back. And within our it could be even silence.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes being silent is an act of charity,
Mm-hmm.
because if we are in the middle of a heated discussion and try to return or argue with somebody, sometimes being silent is an act of charity, because we can prevent things from getting worse,
Mm-hmm.
right? The final word doesn't need to be ours. So there are so many ways. um, Sometimes there are so many ways you can be charitable, and it's really a exercise, a daily exercise for all the situations we have in life, right? Every day that we face, where we could do better, right? And we'll make many mistakes, but the next time we are approached by the same situation, oh, how can we do that different, right? In a better way. So there are many ways we can be charitable, not only material, right? Material way.
Well, thank you again for your talk today. It was really amazing.
Thank
And,
you,
and
everyone.
thank you all for the participation in the chat. We will now move on to the preparation for tonight's spiritual treatment. And what is the spiritual treatment? PASS is a transfusion of spiritual energy with the goal of assisting with our physical, emotional, and mental balance. PASSes help us to restore a state of harmony and peace by replacing negative energy with healthy and positive energy. In order to receive the best benefits from PASSes, please follow the audio instructions or remain in prayer. You may close your eyes to help with mentalization. During the PASS, the water that you set aside will also absorb the spiritual energy that your family and you can benefit from. We will now make a prayer in preparation for the PASS, which will be our closing prayer as well. So let's close our eyes, calm our hearts, and mentalize our Master Jesus and the friendly spirits that are here with us tonight. Thank you, Lord, for this amazing talk today. Thank you for the opportunity to learn more about charity, indulgence, and compassion. May we be able to put these learnings into practice on our daily lives and be instruments to bring hope and peace to those in need that are surround us. We also would like to thank you for all the benefits that the spiritual treatment will bring to us and to our family. We ask for your protection and blessing for the week that we still have ahead, and we trust that you will be with us today and always. So be it.
Let us now prepare ourselves for the moment of the passes and the magnetization of water. Let's now calm our hearts, breathing in and out. Pay attention to your body. Focus on your breath and let yourself be carried by this energy. Let your thoughts pass by without judging them. Let them flow. Allow this light to be the beacon that guides you, and allow these words to penetrate your energy. Make each word an anchor of gratitude, faith, and trust. With the purpose of healing, which takes away my faith, healing every feeling of separation, of pain, let it all dissolve in this moment, leaving only love, gratitude, and trust. We ask God for the presence of our guardian angel and the friendly spirits who welcome us into this enlightened environment of our Spiritist Center. We open our plexus of love and forgiveness by mentalizing a light surrounding our hearts. Find a quiet and comfortable place to begin the mentalization process. Remove all worries from your thoughts. We ask that during the pass you breathe slowly and deeply. Let your body relax and surrender yourself to a deep meditation. Calmly imagine divine energies in soft and colorful light surrounding you in an environment of peace and spiritual warmth. Entrusting God with your most intimate desires, raise your thoughts to Jesus and the emissaries of the spiritual environment. The pass begins with the cleansing of your soul. Imagine a waterfall of crystal clear water pouring over us, removing all the feelings that keep you away from faith and trust. Feel the energy of this water bathing you and deeply breathe in, feeling peace and harmony. Allow this water to wash away all the impurities and spiritual larvae, washing away all the sorrows and resentments, any feelings of hatred and revenge that hold us back and cause us harm, not only from this life, but past ones as well. Now visualize spiritual doctors around you, applying magnetic cleansing passes, sanitizing your spiritual body of all sadness and negative energy. Mentalize these negative thoughts and feelings being washed away, evaporating from your soul, like water evaporating into thin air, and being carried far away from your mind. Surround yourself with the faith that bathes your being, bringing clarity and lucidity, rebalancing every cell in your body. May the water envelop all pain and bring the clarity of opportunity that chooses peace. The answer arises in our hearts, freeing us from all evil and freeing all whom we have caused evil into and who have caused us evil, washing away all the connections that bind us. Even though we may not understand, we are freeing ourselves from all that causes us harm. Feel this cleansing penetrate your soul and release. Now that we are spiritually cleansed, imagine yourself surrounded by the light of love from the hands of Jesus. At this moment, sing words of faith and gratitude, being faithful to the light that exists in me, planted by the Zealous Father. Imagine the sunlight that surrounds and enraptures, freeing us from the chains of everything that holds us down, strengthening your faith. Allow yourself to trust in this light, surrender to it, involved in pleasant feelings and feeling relieved to receive the strengthening lights. Mentalize your spiritual mentors now applying divine light for the strengthening of your mind and your emotions, leaving you feeling emotionally revitalized. Let us now mentalize the magnetization of this water. May we mentalize all the friendly spirits, magnetizing this water and filling it with everything that our bodies, minds, and soul need, so that it may be of help to us when we drink it after the Pass. Thank you, God.
Thank you for joining us tonight. We will be back next Tuesday here on Spiritism Canada and Continental Concafras Americas at 8:30 p.m. East, and next Wednesday on Kardec Radio at 8 p.m. East. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube from the Spiritism Canada and Spiritist group Paths of Light. Have a good night.
Sometimes it's not so easy. Sometimes it's not so close. Sometimes we build our dreams, but then we see them decompose. When you feel down the dumps, feeling sad and blue, give life a chance, my friend, the sun will shine again on you. little faith in you. Maybe tomorrow you can dream all your dreams again. Though some sorrow remains, it doesn't mean the end. Believe you can come through. The rainy days are true. Sometimes okay to feel blue. Have little faith in you. Dream all your dreams again. Though some sorrow remains, your dreams can get you through. Have little faith